Hello guys, welcome to my YouTube channel EliteAuto Review. Today, we're taking a journey back in time to explore the legendary car that started it all for one of the most prestigious automakers in the world, a Rolls-Royce. The car we're talking about is none other than the 1904 Rolls-Royce 10 horsepower. This car wasn't just a vehicle, it was a statement of innovation, luxury, and timeless engineering that laid the foundation for more than a century of motoring excellence. And in today's video, we're diving deep into every detail: the specs, the design, the legacy, and even the price in both back then and today. So buckle up, because this vintage masterpiece deserves the spotlight. The story begins in 1904, when a man named Henry Royce built his first motor car in Manchester, England. It was a small, modest vehicle with only 2 cylinders and 10 horsepower, but what made it different was the level of engineering precision and reliability it offered. At the time, most cars were noisy, unreliable, and uncomfortable. But Royce wanted to build something smoother, quieter, and more refined. He did just that, and when he showed his car to Charles Rolls, a wealthy car dealer and enthusiast, the two formed a partnership that would become Rolls-Royce. The first official car from their collaboration was the Rolls-Royce 10 horsepower. Only 16 units were ever made between 1904 and 1906, making it incredibly rare and highly collectible today. This car had a 1.8-litre, 2-cylinder engine that produced 10 horsepower, not much by today's standards, but back then, it was a revelation in quiet performance. The top speed was around 39 miles per hour, or about 63 kilometers per hour, which was quite fast considering the state of roads in the early 20th century. But more important than the speed was the smoothness and quietness of the engine, which set the car apart from others on the market. Now let's talk about the design. The exterior of the Rolls-Royce 10 horsepower was elegant and practical for its time. It featured a tall, narrow front with a distinctive vertical grille, a precursor to the iconic Rolls-Royce grille we know today. The body was open top with space for 2 or 4 passengers, depending on the configuration. The chassis and engine were built by Rolls-Royce, but the bodywork was commissioned to coach builders, meaning each car had a slightly different look depending on the customer's preferences. Brass was used extensively for the headlamps, trim, and fittings, giving the car a bright and polished look. The wheels were large, spoked, and made of wood or steel, wrapped in narrow, high-profile tires. Inside the car, the interior was basic by today's standards but luxurious for its time. The dashboard featured brass gauges, a wooden steering wheel, and leather seats. There was no windshield, no heating system, and certainly no radio. But in 1904, just having a car that started reliably and rode smoothly was a luxury in itself. Driving one of these was an experience you weren't just getting from point A to point B, you were participating in the dawn of personal transportation. Now let's talk about pricing. In 1904, the Rolls-Royce 10 horsepower was priced at around £395. That may not sound like much, but adjusted for inflation, that would be the equivalent of about £50,000 to £60,000 in today's money, or around $65,000 to $75,000. However, because of its extreme rarity, historical value, and collectible status, the price of a Rolls-Royce 10 horsepower today is astronomical. One of the few surviving examples sold at auction for over $7 million. That's right, this tiny, 10 horsepower car is worth more than many modern supercars because of what it represents. What makes this car so valuable is not just its rarity, but its historical significance. This was the car that introduced the world to the Rolls-Royce name. It set the standard for what a luxury car should be. Henry Royce's commitment to excellence, combined with Charles Rolls's vision and business savvy, created a brand that would go on to build some of the most luxurious, iconic, and technically advanced cars in history. Even in its earliest form, the 10 horsepower reflected the values that still define Rolls-Royce today: smooth performance, superior build quality, attention to detail, and a focus on the driving experience. It wasn't about speed or flashiness, it was about delivering a car that made you feel special behind the wheel. The driving experience of the 10 horsepower was unique for its time. Starting the engine required a hand crank, and the transmission was a 3-speed manual without synchro mesh, so double clutching was necessary. The brakes were mechanical and operated on the rear wheels only, meaning stopping distances were long and required planning. Steering was heavy due to the lack of power assistance, and the ride could be bumpy on unpaved roads. But despite these challenges, the car was praised for its refinement and quietness. The 10 horsepower also set the tone for future Rolls-Royce models in terms of customization. Since the chassis was sold separately from the body, wealthy clients could choose a coach builder to design the body to their exact preferences. This created a culture of bespoke luxury that continues to this day with modern Rolls-Royce models like the Phantom, Ghost, and Cullinan. The idea that no two Rolls-Royce cars have to be alike started with the 10 horsepower. In terms of engineering, the car featured a side valve engine with a cast iron block, gravity-fed carburetor, and water cooling. Lubrication was handled manually by the driver, who had to operate a hand pump to ensure oil reached all moving parts. Fuel was stored in a tank mounted under the seat or in the rear of the car, and consumption was about 20 miles per gallon, not bad for the time. The Rolls-Royce 10 horsepower was not designed for mass production or affordability. It was built to show what was possible when quality came before cost. It wasn't long before Rolls-Royce introduced more powerful models like the 15 horsepower, 20 horsepower, and ultimately the Silver Ghost in 1906, which would cement their reputation as the best car in the world. But the 10 horsepower remains special. It's a symbol of beginnings, of ambition, and of what can happen when two brilliant minds come together with a shared vision. Today, it stands as a museum piece, a collector's trophy, and a priceless chapter in automotive history. If you ever get a chance to see one in person, take a moment to appreciate the details of the brass fittings, the hand-riveted frame, the mechanical simplicity that hides the genius behind it. You'll be looking at the roots of a brand that continues to push boundaries over a century later. The Rolls-Royce 10 horsepower is more than a car. It's a legend on wheels, and a reminder that even the most prestigious empires begin with a single, well-made machine. From a 10 horsepower twin-cylinder car in a British workshop to the ultra-luxurious V12-powered masterpieces of today, Rolls-Royce has come a long way. But it all started here. Thanks for watching Elite Auto Review. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the first ever Rolls-Royce, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more rare and legendary cars from the past and present. Stay tuned for more elite content. Until next time, drive smart and stay classy.